And that's how I know we're good to go. What's going on, everybody? This is the Coverbandconfidential podcast, the podcast for cover band musicians and band leaders to learn how to rock more inside glass in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm Adam Johnson.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, I'm Dan Wright.
This has been kind of like a bit of a technical issue evening. I'm actually on like a freebie interface. I don't know what my main guy is doing, but we've been jumping through hoops trying to make this week's episode work for whatever reason.
And here we are.
Yeah.
We're doing it. Look at this.
It's the law of Murphy. We're in it. That's what we're gonna do.
We're in it. Yeah.
How's it going, man?
Fine. All fine. Pretty quiet week. I've been vibe coding.
Yes, but it's kind of been swiffering the nation as far as the Slack community goes.
For sure.
Can you explain that to the unwashed masses?
Well, so there's software. There's software in the world.
Yes.
And it's written in language, and typically that language has been typed by humans, hunting and pecking and typing every letter of it. And these days, there's this whole movement to not type every word of it, but instead to say to something like Chat GPT, hey, write me a function that does this. And it will write you that function that does this. I've been even lazier and said, write me a whole freaking web page that does this. And if you're careful about it and willing to iterate and negotiate with it and to debate with it like you have to with Chat GPT, you can end up with exactly what you wanted, doing pretty much how it would have done if you'd written it yourself.
It's a little tricky, though, because you kind of have to know how to do it in the first place to get it to work.
Well, yeah. If it's something really simple, then people without programming backgrounds can fully pull it off, 100% pull it off.
Right.
The thing that I'm building, if the AI has gotten wrapped around the axle a few times, and I've had to know more than your average cat to make it behave. And the real thing is you got to check your code in frequently because you will be backtracking a lot because it's going to screw things up and break stuff and not understand why it did that. And then in its discussion, like it makes a change. The page doesn't load anymore. I say, hey, the page doesn't load anymore. Here's the error coming out in the server log. And it'll say, oh, your problem is that you put this there. I was like, dude, you put that there. Don't give me this. Like I have a little bit of attitude with it sometimes, and it's very apologetic because LLMs really want to agree with you, like really want to agree with you. Anyway, we're working on some stuff at work that uses some of these things, and one of them is an advice. Real estate has a lot of weird rules and a lot of weird policies and things like that, and so we want to make like a thing that can tell you the policies. You can ask it, tell you the policies, but we don't trust it because it wants to agree with you so much that if you're like, here's a horribly egregious policy violation, aren't I clever? It'll say like, oh, yes, you are.
Of course.
Clever. That'll save you so much time. So we're working on getting around that.
Gotcha.
Too. Anyway, the point is it will either dump out brilliance or mess up real bad. And even if it did dump out brilliance on a page, the next page is a whole other context that it's going to solve in a whole other kind of way. So if you got messages that pop up at the top of the screen to tell you things happen, well, it's going to do it differently on that second page. So it does take some understanding of architecture of these things to make it really, really work right. But I'm pretty happy with what I've produced so far.
Yeah, some other folks in the group are using it to build karaoke sign-up apps. That's been a thing that has been very successful because it's basic enough where it can be generated pretty easily. And as long as you, like I said, as long as you understand the language and the structure of things, you can point it in the right direction, and it can do it pretty well.
Yeah.
And so we have been tasked primarily to be beta testers on a couple of the patrons' setups. So it's been a fun little exercise there.
Yeah. The joke I've been using is like in my work, I'm a product manager, so I figure out what needs to get built. And I describe it to the people who build it, and they build it. So it's very much like being a product manager. You have to, there's a level of detail you need to provide. There's a level of telling it why you want that actually does help its output, just like with a human. So it's interesting.
It's like Janet in the Good Place.
It's very much like Janet. If you mess up, it will just hand you cactuses over and over and over again.
It is not. I do not have a cactus.
Okay, Janet, but first, is it a cactus?
No,
it is not.
It is not a cactus. Wonderful. Hand me Eleanor Shellstrup's file. Cactus. Thank you, Janet. Well, that's fantastic. In my world, we are, the band has been very communicative over the past couple of days. And I mentioned this in the patron Slack that we got an absolute home run, slam dunk gig opportunity in our inbox this week. And I don't know if I want to I feel like talking about it could jinx it.
We'll talk about it when you know more.
Yeah. But let's just say that if you were an 80s band and you got this inquiry, it would be the most obvious yes on the planet. Because it's not only like the perfect event to play, it's also the perfect audience of people to play to. And so the band has basically just said, it doesn't matter what they tell us, they're going to pay us. We will make it happen. So we just want to be picked. And so we're trying our best to be the group that gets the gig in the first place. The only thing that's standing in our way currently is that they asked for a copy of our contract, and some stuff has changed. We had mentioned it a month or two ago that we had added on a liability policy annually, but we hadn't updated the contract to include that verbiage. And so I rewrote that section of our contract and sent it off to General Counsel for approval, and I'm still waiting to hear back from that. I'm hoping to get that sorted hopefully tomorrow. So by the time this is out, it's all said and done. But definitely stay tuned for an update on this particular gig, because I am very excited about it. And if it comes through, I will be just absolutely over the moon, and I will tell you all about it. Speaking of things that I will tell you all about once I figure it out, is Prime Day kind of pushed me into action. This is a thing that I've been talking about a lot. I've kind of alluded to it and mentioned it in past episodes. The whole audio over Cat 6 deal. Well, with Prime Day, I had loaded up my cart with the stuff that I was going to buy, and I just waited until Prime Day kicked over, and it was like $40 off of this, like what I was going to buy. And so I was like, I kind of have to do it. So that's what I did. And so I now am the proud owner of a punch-in tool, which I barely know how it works, and a bunch of these little Neutrik XLR inputs, and I've got some Ethercon connectors coming in. They'll be here in the next couple of days. Got a couple of these guys, and so
hatch base.
It's go time. I'm gonna try and put this thing together because I got my soldering iron and I got all of these things, and we're gonna give it a shot. And if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, I'm out of maybe $100. I've spent more foolish money on things. I mean,
for sure.
I did that tonight. I bought 2 records that cost probably more than that. That being said, it was the 30th anniversary edition of License to Ill by the Beastie Boys and The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou soundtrack.
Yes. On
yellow vinyl. So I don't feel bad about that. I was actually very excited.
I think you did good work.
In exchange for that, I also purchased my son the self-titled Sublime album because that's a thing that he is currently into.
Okay.
I've got a 14-year-old who is like a damn dirty hippie. Like, he listens to the Grateful Dead and a bunch of things, and I'm trying to push him in the right direction, but I don't want to push him too hard. So I'm going to let him listen to the Dead, but we're also going to, we're taking him to see, well, not taking him because I'm working it, but tomorrow night, the Offspring is coming to town, and the marching band does beer carts at the Live Nation venue near our house. So I get to see the Offspring, Jimmy Eat World, and Newfound Glory for free while slinging beers. So could be worse ways to spend your Tuesday night. And he's going with one of our friends. His parents are going to drive him there and back. And well, actually, he's going to drive him there, and we're going to take him home. And I was like, oh, you get to go backstage where the buses are, because that's how we check out at the end of the night. So that's kind of a cool thing. Like, most kids don't get to do.
Right.
Get to be backstage at a big, cool rock and roll show. So, things are going pretty good. Speaking of things in regards to Prime Day, a conversation that came up today on the Slack was about 3D printers. And that's a thing that I've been dealing with a lot because I've been using them to build my Ethercon
components.
Yeah. So I've got some stage boxes that I'm in the process of assembling and cutting together. And John Piz, who's one of our new patrons, but has been a friend of mine for years at this point, was asking about 3D printers for the purpose of building stuff in regards to, live show, band, guitar, gear stuff. and asking about recommendations and things. And I've been 3D printing for a little while. I'm by no means an expert. I know a thing or two. I know just enough to like be dangerous. But he's like, I'm looking for one that is going to do a good job, but is easy to use and won't break the bank. And I was like, okay, good, affordable, easy to use. Pick 2 as long as one of them isn't cheap. Because just the cheaper they are, the harder they are to use. There's a very significant learning curve if that's not a thing that you're familiar with. If you are looking to get into 3D printing and you have no basis and you're not interested in learning, I would look up something like what Bamboo Labs makes. Their stuff is phenomenal, but they're very proud of it.
They like it a lot.
Yes. I have a Creality Ender 3 VSE. Like it's got more additions at the end of it than is necessary. That I spent probably around $200 on like Black Friday a couple of years ago, and it works, but it takes a lot of farting around to make it do stuff. So I did find an EtherCon stage box STL file, and I've put it all together, and it's just now I've got the ports and I can start screwing them in. You can see everything's kind of like pre-drilled and good to go there. There's definitely some stuff I need to clean up, but hope is to basically prototype these things to see if it works. And if it does work, then I'm good to go. It can be very beneficial. It can be very useful. It can be very handy if you know what you're doing. Otherwise, you're spending hundreds of dollars to build a part that costs maybe 75 cents to make. So the question you got to ask yourself is, how many of these do you have to make before it starts making sense?
Right.
Ultimately, that's the challenge.
I shopped those for a while. I thought that I ought to get into it, and maybe I still ought to. But the Bamboo Labs ones were obviously calling to me because I'm a low fuss budget kind of guy. Like I just want it to work, and those ones seem like they do, but they'll charge you for the privilege.
Yeah, your time and your convenience is definitely factored in to the pricing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they start around $400, but as you add on features, it gets exponentially more expensive. But yeah, just single color, what have you. You can get one of these Creality Enders for $200-300 and be off to the races, if that's what you're into. If you have any questions about that, hit us up. Happy to answer stuff. Actually, I mean, the forum on the website's been getting hit up pretty regularly. Our friend Basid, who had left a review, had asked a question in regards to instrument counts and that kind of thing, and we'll get into that probably down the road a little bit. But we have a pretty juicy topic to get into this week, and I didn't want to sell that one short. As far as like general housekeeping stuff, no reviews this week. We did get an alert that we hit 1.2 million views on YouTube.
And 1 million was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's just kind of like now it's amazing how exciting 1 million was. And at this point, you get these notifications like, I get it. Okay, enough already,
Wake me up at 5.
Right. Considering the fact it took us, almost 6 years to get to 1 million.
6 years.
And now 2 weeks later, we're already, like you were saying, like
fifth of the way. Yeah.
It's crazy. So this time next year, we might be double or triple that, which is weird to think about. But
it's the hockey stick, baby.
Well, but it's like the frog boiling situation. You get accustomed to the temperature at some point, and so after 1 million, you're like, we get it. It's whatever. It's fine.
No, we're huge on YouTube. What?
Yeah.
No big deal.
It's no big deal. Not huge enough to get a Liquid IV endorsement, even though I'm definitely drinking it right now. I applied, but we don't have enough reach. They told me flat out. You guys don't have enough reach.
We'll get there.
It's good to know. At least you have it. Anyway, this week's topic is something that came up on another forum that we have our fingers in, apparently.
Casually, yeah.
Yeah, so there is a cover band subreddit, and I had set up a subreddit called Bar Bands back in the day because the cover band subreddit was like dead. And got bar bands going for a little bit, and then just hit up the only person with an active account that was still adminning the cover band one. I was like, hey, can you just like make me an admin and I'll run it from there? And they're like, yes, please. I'm so tired of this. So this came up this week, and it's just like, this is one of those things that is just so universal and so relatable that like we had to talk about it. We had to get into it. And once you read through it and listen to it, you will know exactly what we're talking about. This comes from user Dimsy5150, Van Halen fan, obviously.
Wheelie.
Yep. And the subject is, why is forming a band like herding cats? We could stop right there.
Why even read it? We can go for an hour.
Yes. But we'll go ahead and go through the story because, again, this is universal stuff. This is relatable. So me and my rhythm guitarist and bassist formed a band back in December. We put together some great tunes, found an awesome keyboardist and singer. The keyboardist brought in a drummer. Our bassist had to step away due to a health issue. The drummer that our keyboardist found is good, but never does his homework, so he doesn't remember any of the changes to any of the tunes that we were doing. So the songs can be great, but always turn into train wrecks because he gets us lost. I've been trying to bring in bassists to audition, and it's been such a slow process because no one in the band wants to commit to times. So it's the when is everybody available deal.
Yeah.
I have about 10 different bassists sitting in my email. The bassists I do bring in either aren't good or don't want to play with us. I suspect it's because of the poor preparation of the drummer. Recently, we had to take a 2-week break due to the holiday and some family obligations. Me and the guitarist are trying to get everyone to commit to a date and time so I can bring in a bassist who seems like a really good dude. After agreeing to this Friday, today, a week ago, I go to firm things.
It's a hard sentence. I would just rephrase it.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and rephrase it.
So
I don't even know what he's saying there.
So a week ago, they all agreed to meet on Friday. I go to firm things up with the keyboardist, and he tells me, oh, me and the singer can't make it this Friday. You could have told me when you committed to it last week. So I asked for Saturday, nothing. My guitarist called up the keyboardist, nothing. Feels like we're getting screwed over. Listen, not to toot my own horn, but I'm a halfway decent guitar player. I don't want to be at home, but I'm really tired of flaky people who either don't show up or aren't prepared. I myself am on borrowed time as I have a degenerative back issue where at some point I'm not going to be able to physically be able to play in front of crowds for 3 hours and carry equipment around. I want my home playing career to start when the time comes that I have to hang it up. How do you combat flaky people? What is the secret?
Is the secret.
Does anybody know? Coverbandconfidential@gmail.com. What's the secret?
Oh, what's the secret?
Please.
Yeah.
I'm dying.
I have some approaches I've developed over the years.
Sure.
Let's put it like
Go
that.
for it.
I know you have too.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing is be a band leader. So you underneath the covers of every word in this thing is we're trying to do it like a democracy, and I'm trying to lead a democracy. And the democracies, I hate to say this in the current state of our current nation, my friend, but it is nonetheless true that democracies are really hard.
Yep.
And dictatorships are a whole lot easier.
Yes.
I have promised my band that I will be a benevolent dictator, but ultimately I do auditions or first cuts of them at least all by myself. I do not bring the whole band together to try out new people. I think that's actually a waste of their time. I think I'm willing to spend my time doing the first round of triage and bouncing the jerks or underperformers or slackers. I think I've got a pretty good nose for that. Having done it some in the band context, having been a hiring manager in my career for quite a while, I'm happy to be the first line of defense before I introduce a new prospect to the band.
Yeah.
So getting everyone together to try out somebody, he's got how many? 10 different bassists. We're going to do 10 auditions with the full band, and it can't happen if everybody's not there.
Yep.
That is a setup for agony.
Yeah.
Don't do that to yourself.
Yeah.
Just be the band leader. Say, I'll be the one. I'll meet with them. We'll play through some songs. We have an episode that we did some time back about how to audition people, but that might be a topic we ought to revisit because it's been some time.
Yeah.
I have some practices that I stole from work, Dan, that have been effective.
Yeah.
But that's really the thing. If you're going to be the leader of the thing, be the leader of the thing.
Yeah.
And don't, have your band's buy-in about that. Have them know what they're getting into. Like a band that starts as a democracy and then someone takes over, that sucks.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to be mad. A band that starts as, it's my band.
Yep.
Please come join me. Like that's a whole different ballgame. People know what they're getting into. So there's something at the founding of this band that is not set up for efficient work.
Yeah.
That's kind of my first thing.
Yeah. Kind of to piggyback onto that, the thing about having a clear leader is that it gives everybody someone or something to follow.
Yeah.
Because it's really easy to talk about, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, when nobody is in charge of making the final decision. But what happens is that you get to the point where a decision needs to be made and nobody wants to make it.
Right.
It also kind of sounds like there's a bit of a power dynamic because you've got the keyboardist who is in cahoots with the vocalist, and the drummer's kind of the odd man out, and we don't know what to do in that particular scenario because that's a separate problem.
Well, we'll come back to that problem.
Yeah.
I think we need to come back to that problem.
So yeah, we'll put a pin in that. So it's going to be a tough prospect to kind of like take over things, but it seems like you're in this kind of situation where there's analysis paralysis where nobody really wants to like make the call or doesn't have enough leverage to make the call. So that kind of puts you in a tough spot, and it leaves you with a couple of options. So you can continue down the path that you're going down where everybody, supposedly has equal footing, which we all know is not true. Every single band that ever existed has one or two people that are doing the majority of the work and everybody else is kind of along for the ride. In your case, this guitarist's case, they have a finite amount of time. They're like, hey, I've got this issue and I am not ready to hang it up, but I know that hanging it up is on the table. And that may, in fact, be the sense of urgency and focus that you need in order to get this thing going.
For sure.
But it's very much a scenario where if that is to happen, you're going to have to crack some eggs for whatever that looks like.
Yeah. If it matters to you to have a band happen while you physically can, this should be like the DMZ 5150 experience.
Yep.
Build it around yourself. Have it be that. And, if you are the guitarist you say you are, I have no reason to doubt that.
Sure, why not?
Then, that will work. That'll probably work.
But you got to be willing to do it.
Yep.
And, if more than likely we'll post a copy of this conversation in this post on the subreddit. So, it'll end up getting there. But ultimately, though, you've got to make that decision. So if you have a vision of things, your job now is to cast that vision to the other people that are involved and basically tell them, hey, this is where I am going. Not this is where I want to go. This is what I'm thinking about doing. This is where I'm going. Are you in or are you out?
Yeah.
And give them the option to bow out gracefully without, any sort of drama, or say, this isn't working for me. I'll take these two people and I'm going to move forward without so-and-so, which sucks. Yep. It's a hard conversation to have, but ultimately, if the desire is to have a functioning band in 3 months' time, then, some decisions have to be made. Talking about techniques and things that have worked, in my case, it's money. When you have money to throw around, these decisions get a lot easier because you can just go, hey, person, you're good. You want to make money? And they go, uh-huh. It's like, okay, well, here's money. Do the thing that I require you to do, and I will give you money. And they go, okay. And that's it.
I will do that.
It's a bit of a tougher sell when you're just getting started. You don't have any way of compensating folks.
Right. And I think this might be a good moment to unpin the drummer.
Yes.
Because there is this phenomenon going on of clickishness. So the keyboardist brought in the drummer. There's this, I'm quoting a sentence from this post here. The keyboardist brought in a drummer. And that means that those two are aligned. And the drummer's underperformance, let's say, if you're going to step up and be a band leader, you got to confront that. You got to tell them it's not working. You got to tell them they got to be more prepared. There got to be consequences if they're not.
Yep.
If you're going to be a band leader, it's not a family. It is a job. And If they're not doing the job, they're gone.
Yep.
That's how that works. Firing people from a band sucks. Firing people from work sucks. It's a job. You got to deliver. And if the keyboardist is, I found an awesome keyboardist. There was a sentence right before that sentence. So we want to keep the keyboardist. We don't want to keep the drummer. One of the things you got to do if you're going to be a band leader is be a big enough person to have a straight conversation with, in this case, the keyboardist, and say, listen, you're great. You're contributing. I really want to go forward with you. This drummer you brought us, he's not, you're in the room with me too. You see it happening.
Yeah.
He's not
on the level.
Yeah. And I'm willing to give him this much grace, this much opportunity to correct. I always want to do that. I'd never want to be the guy who like pulls the rug out from somebody because they missed a note, right?
Yep.
But there's got to be a line where I've said, here's the problem. I need you to correct it. If they don't, here's the by when of there's going to be change. And a professional band leader, which we are now, by the way, without your permission, Dimsy 5150, casting you in the role.
Yes, we are assigning you this role now.
Yeah, but if you're going to be that, you start by saying to the keyboardist, look, I got to have a straight conversation with the drummer because it's not working out, and I'm going to give him a fair shot to correct it. And if he doesn't, we got to figure something else out.
Right.
But it's no reflection on you. I want to keep playing with you because you're great. But I know your relationship with him predates us, and I don't want that. I hope that won't get in the way. Of our working together.
But it might.
And if it does, you got to be ready for that.
Yeah. Because the one thing though that I think is worth digging into is that he's not saying the drummer's not good. He's saying the drummer doesn't prepare.
Unprepared. Yeah.
So that is a problem that can be fixed.
Yes. If the drummer will fix it. Yes.
Yes. So this is a situation where if you are able to have a mature conversation about expectations and what you are looking to get out of it and the consequences of what could happen if you don't meet those expectations, this could be resolved with the current lineup, with the current out.
Sure. 100%.
But it does require you to stick your neck out and say, hey, this is where we are. This is what I'm thinking. This is what needs to happen, or else.
I knew that I had leveled up as a manager in my work when I literally said out loud, my expectation is X. And my people were like, oh, thank God. Like they knew what the marching orders were. I wasn't dancing around it. I wasn't, soft coding it. I was like, here's a thing. Maybe it's not how you want it, but this is my expectation. And by God, like with that clarity, they were able to get themselves in line, and some conversations had to be had to clarify stuff and get people, whatever. But that kind of clarity is the only way forward about this kind of thing. And it's a gift to them.
Yeah.
And they can decide, well, that's the expectation. Am I willing to do what it takes to meet that expectation? Or is this not the right environment for me?
Yeah. And if we were to provide advice beyond just like here's what you need to do these things outside of the context of a rehearsal. Because the thing that I struggle with as a band leader is providing feedback when I am frustrated. That is when you get the clearest, most direct feedback that you're going to get from me, but it's not delivered in a very delicious wrapping.
Yeah.
It might be nutritious. You might get the things that you're looking for, but it's not. It's wrapped in like Brussels sprouts that your parents ate back in the 50s. Because
Brussels sprouts are good these days, by the way.
Right, but they changed it. Like
they changed Brussels sprouts. Yes.
Yeah, the fact we're all like, what? Why are people so like they wouldn't like they literally changed them. So the Brussels sprouts that your parents ate back in the 50s and 60s aren't the ones that we eat today. Like they're very different. So that has nothing to do with this conversation, but it's worth mentioning.
It's just it's a nice little side fact.
Yes. So if you learn nothing from this week's episode, new Brussels sprouts, better than old Brussels sprouts, and it's all thanks to science.
Also, Brussels sprouts and cauliflower and cabbage and kale, and they're all the same plant.
Yep.
They're actually all the same plant.
It's crazy.
Amazing. Yeah.
Crazy.
But that's not what we're talking about.
Right. The thing that we're talking about is you don't want the feedback that you're giving to taste like Brussels sprouts from the 50s. You want them to taste like Brussels sprouts from now.
Brussels sprouts from
like
now,
a fancy restaurant that,
freaking delicious.
It's got the bacon.
Some balsamic on there, some bacon.
Maybe like a blue cheese or some sort of feta scenario.
So good. That's what you want your feedback to look
Absolutely.
like.
Because you're like, oh, this is kind of good for me, and I can trick myself into thinking that it's a good idea, even though it's deep fried.
It's a vegetable.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what you need to do. You need to find a way to provide that feedback in the most palatable way possible, but fully prepared for somebody to be like, I don't like Brussels sprouts. And then go, well, we're kind of a Brussels sprouts fan. Take it or leave it.
That's what we're doing. But in a democracy that isn't really one, that's an impossible conversation.
Right. And you have to be willing to find other people who like Brussels sprouts. That's the next part of this, is that you can say whatever you want. You can talk a mean game and you can say, yeah, I'm in charge and da-da-da-da. But if you're not willing to be like, all right, well, we drew the line in the sand and you crossed it and that's that. The next part of this is, how do you combat flaky people? You find people who aren't flaky.
Right.
It involves going out and, looking for other musicians. It involves asking other musicians in the market that you're in that you trust for recommendations. It involves you going to other shows and seeing other folks and seeing if there's people there that might be, not super involved or committed to other projects that might be able to help you out. It involves some other stuff. I feel like recruitment is a thing that it never really stops. Whether you have a solid lineup or not, you always need to be looking, because people's situations change, and your sure thing this week could be gone next week. And
it's definitely true.
Yeah, especially trying to keep a band together for, at this point, 10 plus years. You just have to be willing to roll the punches or fold it up if it gets too hard.
Look, people are going to come, people are going to go. Nobody's irreplaceable. Everybody's got their own special flavor, but nobody's irreplaceable.
Correct.
Really.
Yeah.
Period. Bottom line. Now, the other thing that's really important, and it's as we hang out in our cover bands, it is at the heart of almost all tension, is a thing I call misaligned intentions.
Yeah.
Doomsday 5150 didn't tell us why this band was founded. There's some time pressure on their ability to perform, but are we out to make it big on the local festival stage? Are we going to be a corner of the bar band our whole lives? And which is fine.
Yep.
No shame. I'm a corner of the bar band. What's the intention?
Yeah.
What are we out for? Are we out for, there are bands that just are entirely rehearsal room bands. They never do anything else.
Yep.
If you find a drummer or a bassist or keyboard player who's I want to be in a band because I want to hang out with friends and play music a lot inside a rehearsal room.
Yep.
And everybody else is no, we're going to gig. We're going to play 4 gigs a month. You're going to have a bad time. That person's really going to struggle.
Yeah.
So it seems to me like that intention isn't expressed in this post.
Nope.
What success looks like for this band, not expressed in this post. If there's a picture of it, I'd be willing to bet it's not shared by everybody who's currently in the band.
Right. And
that's a part of the vision casting, I think is the term you used, that the leader needs to say, look, we're all, in my case, we're all grown-ass adults with kids who are small, who, we all have jobs, and gigging every weekend completely wouldn't work for all of us.
Yeah. So
we're not going to do that. We're going to be a 1 or a 2 gig a month kind of band. And, we'd like to get bigger and bigger stages under our feet, but we know we got to start where we're starting. And so that picture of what it is now and where it's going, somebody can bite onto that. Somebody can be part of that. But if that's not expressed, if that's not aligned on, then who knows what people want? Who knows what people expect? It's going to be a mess.
Yeah.
So that's a conversation that you got to have.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty clear that it is more than poker night for OP.
Yep.
But it may not be for everybody else.
Right.
And so, like you were saying, that's probably the first step. This is what I envision this to be. Does this align with what you are wanting to do? If it doesn't, then, maybe it's time for you to find something else to do.
Yeah. And like, love you, but
yeah, there's no harm, no foul. Just make your intentions known, because if you don't, you can't be mad at people for not meeting the expectations that you aren't setting.
Right.
That just makes you a jerk, honestly.
And a bad leader.
Also that. This thing that sucks, like, we all got into this, to play guitar and, have fun.
Right. And then it turns out, like, there's taxes to file and leadership to learn and all of this stuff. Yes.
It turns out the music business is, in fact, a business. And that's the rub,
Yeah.
The worst part about being your own boss is the being your own boss part, It's at least my experience.
Yep.
So, Dimsy5150, I hope this reaches you, and that you're able to take something out of it and, get this sorted. And if you do, either update the subreddit or hit us up directly, coverbandconfidential@gmail.com. That's, ultimately, we're just trying to, help everybody on their journey here and get you where you're wanting to go. In this case, with the time you've got,
Right. Yeah. I hope to hear a great update. And by the way, there are like guitar stands that can hold your guitar up for you while you play. Like, I don't know your medical history, but I would look into what kind of adaptations there are, because they exist.
Yep. Lighter guitars, no amps.
For sure.
I mean, if I play that Steinberger and HX Top and I'm not loading the PA in myself, like, that's a pretty light lift.
You were going to be playing 80s covers into your
80s,
90s, 100s, 110s. Yeah.
I don't know about that. I think it's...
I do.
Listen, I know that at some point...
Stem cells, baby. We're doing it.
That's right. Yeah. I don't know when the time is to call it. Hopefully I know it before everybody else knows it for me.
Yeah.
And they're like, ugh, maybe not anymore.
Wow.
We'll figure it out, though. Well, guys, I hope that is helpful and useful. I guarantee you that somebody who's listening to this right now is in the exact same boat, but
for sure
wasn't brave enough or able to express it out there. So take this information back to your situation and do with it what you will. Odds are it will all work out for the best if you follow the path that we suggest. End of discussion.
End of discussion,
folks. Another flawless episode.
Brilliant.
We didn't have to restart anything. We didn't say anything wrong and had to cut it out. We didn't have to use our magic word for any of the edits. Not that you would know that, but we didn't.
I think I did once.
Yeah, no, I did like 5 times. But they don't need to know that.
They don't need to know that. That's critical.
But I'm going to leave this in just so that they understand that, we bleed for this show. That's so awful. That's not true. Listen, we put effort into the show. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
And whether you listen to it or you watch it, we're trying. The level of which we're trying, that's up for debate. But
no, this is our new tagline: Coverbandconfidential.
We're trying.
We're trying. Yeah.
If you have any other pieces of advice that you think would be relevant in this situation, let us know about it. Coverbandconfidential@gmail.com. Leave a comment on the video if you're watching this on YouTube, or any other way that you can hit us up. We are very accessible. It's one of the things that we pride ourselves on. And if you really want to get into the thick of it, join the Patreon. That's what's going on. The bonus episodes are back up. We were on a bit of a backlog, but I finally got it all caught up. So if you're looking for the inside scoop and the deep, dark, dirty secrets of things that are going on, that's where you're gonna find them. But otherwise, we appreciate each and every one of you. And we're so thankful for you. 1.2 million folks on YouTube, and over 1 million probably on the podcast side. I mean, we're just cranking them out. We're doing it.
Here we are.
Last month, like, I think 11 or some odd folks checked out episode 1. Think about that. Like, starting 4 years into this podcast with 380 some odd episodes to like look forward to, maybe.
Yeah.
Or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy to think about that every single month, like, forever. Yeah. And
yeah.
It's kind of interesting because, like, you look at the episode numbers for like the new ones and it's a respectable amount. But the fact is that that number applied 350, or I'm sorry, I think it's like 386 at this point. I think it's what this week's episode will be, 386.
Okay.
So yeah, you take that and multiply it by 386, like tens of thousands every single month. Just checking it out.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we love each and every one of you. If you're listening to this, we love you.
We do.
We accept you. And you
are perfect.
You are perfect in our eyes. And we just, we treasure you, and you are precious in our hearts. Truly.
We did this without you for the first, year?
Yeah.
Plugged along.
Yep.
Just talking to ourselves. And
now you're here.
I will say it's better with you here.
It's true. If you like to support the show, you can do a number of things, but I'll go ahead and call it for this week. In Atlanta, Georgia, I am Adam Johnson.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, I'm Dan Ray.
You'll be listening to the Coverbandconfidential podcast for the week of July 18th, 2025.
The world now rocks a little more and sucks a little less. These guys have been working hard to make that happen, but we need to help them do more. Get the